Usaybflow, welcome to the Underground Society podcast, man. How are you?
Dude, Justin, I'm amazing. Just beyond blessed to be on here.
I wanted to dive into your social media content. How the fuck do you guys do that?
I put a hashtag Riot10. He commented like flame emojis, and I was like shitting myself.
It seemed like you kind of pioneered that, and I've seen a lot of people copy it, and it's a formula that works very well.
I just feel better. It was just like here in my basement. I ended up getting a green screen. I actually have some like beginner knowledge of like a video editing program. So I was just like, why not try something different?
All of a sudden, freaking up after that.
I want to try and like upgrade it. I'm thinking of like maybe eventually like renting out a room, like a massive green screen room.
Damn, nice.
You know, not everyone's gonna like what you put out, but it's like as long as you like it, that's all that matters.
Taking breaks off social media is also super important.
Damn it, I wish I could have done that part. It's crazy because people are like, he's amazing at what he does. His stuff is so girthy and delicious. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Usaybflow, welcome to the Underground Society podcast, man. How are you?
Dude, Justin, I'm amazing. Like I said before this recording, I've seen you online everywhere doing these interviews with other artists and just people in general, and I'm just beyond blessed to be on here. So
Well, that's wonderful to hear. I'm glad our name is getting out there more.
Great.
So you are obviously known for your insane talent to chop triples, quads, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of what you blew up and what you're kind of known for. But now you're moving into production. You have some stuff coming up with Subsidia that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I kind of want to start with kind of the path of you discovering EDM and kind of like how your trajectory kind of started to happen.
So from high school, I had this older group of friends, and they were kind of really into EDM. I was kind of into EDM, but not so much. I was kind of dabbling in and out of it, but my main thing was rap at the time. It still kind of is, but I think one of the friends asked me to go to a local festival here. It was back in 2015. I think I was in grade 12. I was in my last year of high school, and he was, you should just come. Why not? You know what I mean? So I ended up going. And that one didn't really hit home for me. And I was like, I don't know. It's cool. I love the party scene. You know, that was like my prime kind of party years, I guess you could call them. And after that, in the following year, I went to an event in Toronto. It was for Dubs and all those people and stuff. Like Trumpet, Will Sparks, Carnage at the time. All those people. And that show right there really kind of like struck a flame in me and kind of lit a light bulb for me. And it was just like, you know, the lights, the pyro, the CO2, the fireworks, just everything about it, and being like the center of attention, that person that, you know, can control all these like massive amounts of people with just like music, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what started it off. And then I eventually got my first board. And then from there, you know, I started doing house music. I did
that's what I'm starting with right now. I'm just now starting to get into. I've always been business side podcast stuff, and I'm just now starting to learn how to mix, and I'm starting with house as well. I think a lot of people start with house.
Oh my god, dude! It's like, yeah, I recommend when people that want to start dubstep, they're like, oh, but I want to just learn how to mix and transition all that stuff. Like house is like the perfect starting point for sure. So I definitely agree with you on that.
You have a little bit more time because you play more of the song. You're not jumping into the next one after 30 seconds.
Yeah, my sets nowadays, like with drops, I literally, it's like 30 seconds to a minute of a drop, and then I go into the next one. Like, you know, it's very quick. Whereas house, it's like 3, 4, 5 minutes around one song where you can really like soak it in, you know. So definitely the perfect place to start.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was doing that for like maybe 2, 3, 4 years. And I was doing like 1 hour SoundCloud mixes, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, you know, commentating over them, just trying to be kind of like a wannabe spin-in records, if you remember, do like spin-in sessions in the back in the day. And then from there, I remember I had an old friend that showed me, I think it was an Excision song. I forget what song it was. I think it was the Paradox, I think, like the original version. And from there,
throwback, holy shit. I was like, that song's like 8 years old.
Dude, that's like old.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then so from there, it just kind of kept going. And then, you know, of course, I found out of people like Cod Dubs and Subtronics especially, you know, and like their DJing skills and, you know, how they prepare their sets and stuff like that. And it really kind of inspired me. And then, you know, 2020, I think, in the midst of the pandemic, I uploaded my first quad drop on my Instagram. And that's where kind of the snowball effect kind of started. I used the Riot 10 song in it, I believe, or I put a hashtag Riot 10 in the thing, and then that was like, he commented like flame emojis, and I was like shitting myself. I was
Wait,
like,
what? Yeah.
that was the first time I had any sort of encounter with someone of that like tier of artist, right? And I
Yeah.
was like, what? This is crazy. And then from there, I just kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it. I kept doing like a bunch of live streams throughout the year and stuff like that, especially during the pandemic. And I felt like, that was kind of the peak time for me because I was like, everyone's at home, can't really go anywhere. Everyone's on their
Mhm.
phone, it's the perfect time. And I was uploading like maybe 3, 4, 5 videos a week, just
Holy
like,
shit, that's a lot.
yeah.
Damn.
And I was doing like 1 or 2 streams every couple of weeks. And it's like, I was just in people's
You're just
face.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like then I got the attention of like Cod Dubs as well, like actually got his attention, and then Subtronics as well on Twitter, and like he thankfully kind of took me under his wing at that point, and kind of like he helped me, you know what I mean? He really like helped me, and I remember I think it was one video, it was for when his label first launched, he did a compilation, and he asked me to do a video, or his management asked me to do a
I
video.
saw that video actually. Yes, I do remember you doing that. Yep.
Yeah, that was like a really big video for me, and that like I really really took my time on, and it's like it's crazy because people are like, oh, how long do you take to do these videos? I'm like, they're like 2 minutes long max,
Mhm.
4 or 5 hours depending.
Yeah, dude. Same thing with same me making the reels for the advertisements for this podcast. Same exact thing, dude. Like
Yeah,
especially like our first one because it's like even more heavily edited. It takes me like an 8-hour workday.
that's
Like
it's exactly
yeah,
very intricate stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Every detail, especially if it's your work, you want every detail to be
Mhm.
very fine and
Watch it
very
400 times afterwards. Tweak little things.
oh, literally me with production, dude.
Yeah.
I could finish the idea in a week, but then I spend another 2 weeks to a month just like
Tweaking it.
adjusting it, like literally.
Yep.
So then after that, I was doing so many like live streams left, right, and center. And then as soon as COVID kind of just started to clear up a little bit more, shows started to happen again. I did like a fest here and there. I did Origins in Quebec, and that was like my first show
Oh,
back.
sick.
I have the picture right there.
Hell yeah.
That one. Or wait, that one right there. I put these on my wall just to kind of give me a reminder.
No, that's an excellent idea. So like, just keep going. It gives you motivation every time you sit at your computer.
It's great. It's right beside my setup here. You know what I mean? So it's great. And then I eventually I got asked to be on the Riot 10 tour, the Hyper Die tour of
Mhm.
2020. Did 3 dates with him, and that was the first time me being really embraced in like the tour life, and that was a big height for me. And then of course I went on to play just like many shows. Like I played Lost Lands 2021. Yep. That was like I can't even put into words still like how like I don't know. It was crazy.
What stage did you play for? Did you play Subsidia?
I played the Subsidia
Okay,
stage
yeah.
A3 at 4 p.m.
Nice. Pretty
Yeah.
solid slot. Most people, especially on day 3, like are in the mode kind of to go see the other stages and stuff. So, especially you popping off on social media before that, I'm sure people are like, Usaybflow have to be at that set.
It was just so crazy because like it was day 3, basically like day 4 because of the pre-party, and it's like it was 4 p.m. That was basically
Yeah.
and like that stage was packed out during
Mhm.
like people are tired at that point, you know what I mean? And it's like people were starting pits left, right, and center, and like and even then, like even after my set, there was so many people that were like, dude, you had the best set of the weekend, like over anyone. I'm like, are you sure? There was quite a few other acts. Are you sure I was the best one? They're like, dude, yes.
I'll
Uh,
take it.
I'll, I'll take it. Um, but then yeah, I've been just been like doing as many shows as I can, and trying to put out as many videos as I can, just content in general. And then yeah, like as you said, I've been trying to do more production stuff lately, and with this Subsidia release coming out technically tomorrow of this recording,
Yeah. Yep.
it's surreal. It's surreal. But yeah, that's how I kind of came to be.
Hell yeah. And by the time this comes out, it'll be a few days ago, so it's already out. So everyone go listen to it. But
Yeah.
I wanted to dive into your social media content. Where did the idea? Because it seemed like your idea of posting, reel after reel after reel, all this content of you mixing and stuff like that, doing your quads, triples, all the content that you put out. It seemed like you in a sense kind of pioneered that, and I've seen a lot of people copy it after that and have done well. It's a formula that works very well.
Yeah.
Where did that how did you kind of come up with that style, and where did that kind of come from?
It's kind of funny. I guess the word is like pioneered, like all like other artists, like kind of a few other artists that are doing the same sort of deal where
Yeah.
it's like quick, fast videos, straight to the point, where it could be a chop, or it could be just like an original song
Mm-hmm.
drop, 30 seconds. And I don't know, man. I think like so back in the day, I used to do like YouTube videos that were like, and they were like mixes that were like 20 to 30 minutes long, and they'd be
Okay.
like every week I do a new like video, new track list, new set list, and I was doing this consistently for like a good year or two. Um, but then like during COVID, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I kind of wanted to keep it. I kind of had that idea of um, with everyone being inside because of COVID, something quick and easy, especially with not having any shows going on. Some people, like people online, that are home, want shows like so badly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I was trying to think of a way to kind of incorporate that. So that's why I ended up getting a green screen. I actually have some like beginner knowledge of like a video editing program. So I was just like, why not try something different?
Mm.
I was like, let me incorporate my doubling and my tripling and quadding, whatever the case is, and make the main theme that release. And that was kind of what I stuck by. And then people just tend to like it. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
and the thing is too, is like, I never really found it like a chore or anything like that. Like I love doing it.
Yeah,
Like
fun. Yeah.
is the same thing with like with you with like editing like the reels and stuff for
Yep.
this. It's like 8, 6, 7, 8 hours, but it's like I just I just love doing it. I mean, it's me mixing. It's what I love to do. It's my passion. So I'm like, you know what I mean? People like it and people are latching onto it. Why not continue? You know what I mean?
What's cool is you're
Um,
involved in the entire creative process, from choosing the songs to figuring out what you're actually going to be recording to
yeah,
full production of that video and post. Like you're the one doing all of it, which is super
yeah,
impressive.
yeah. No, I love that. I love
Yeah.
being in control of what I'm putting out, and like I definitely had moments where I'm like, I could get an editor, I could get a visual guy or whatever the
Mm.
case. But I take so much pride in my content that
Yeah.
one, like, I could love the video, but if there's one mistake that this quote unquote editor does, I'm gonna be like, you gotta change
Yeah,
that,
you gotta
and
change it.
I'm just gonna do it left, right, and center. So I have to do it myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Like,
something that I've thought about. Now that I do have like a formula, and I feel like I could teach someone how to do what I do, at the same thing. I'm like, damn, it's like the one thing that's holding me back. I'm like, I just feel like I'm gonna be too nitpicky, and then they're not gonna have fun working and doing the job, and like I don't want to make someone feel that way. Like
yeah.
I need help, but it's gonna be like a mental game when I actually make that move.
Oh my, it- that's so funny. It's so true, but it's like, oh man, I don't know. It's my content. I gotta just make
Yeah.
sure it's for me. You know what I mean? And not everyone's gonna like what you put out, but it's like as long as you like it, that's all that matters.
hmm Going back to me saying how like it seemed like other people kind of adapted that kind of same
Yeah.
strategy of similar posts and similar content. How has that affected, like, do you enjoy that other people kind of have seen success from it, or are you like, damn it, like that was kind of my thing? Like what's your feelings about that?
So I've definitely had a few moments where I'm like, damn it, I wish I could have done that part. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No, no. Majority of the time, I'm like, you know what? It's bringing up the underground, and that's something that I find pride in as well, is because you know what I mean. Like people like Subtronics, people like myself, Excision. They're not going to be around in the scene forever and
Mhm.
be relevant as forever. But you know what I mean? It's like it's always about bringing up the underground for me as well, and
Absolutely.
to see other artists like use it as well and to utilize it to their advantage, it really is a good sight to see. And yeah, I don't know. I think about it from time to time. I'm like, I see like other artists like Amorphic and like other artists
Yeah.
like Jick Hyde and stuff like that like do these videos, and I'm like, damn, that's it's so cool because it's like before I started doing it like during COVID and stuff like that, I literally did not see it like anywhere, and it was like, and then I saw it, I was like, that's pretty fucking cool. I love
hmm
that shit. That's great.
Yeah, and Amorphic, talking about Amorphic, yeah, I've had him on
Yeah,
the show as well, and we've talked every now and then. We've become decent friends, or at least
yeah,
acquaintances. We chat every now and then, but it's so cool because I'm such a big supporter of him. It's so cool being able to see him kind of adapt that, maybe whether he got it from you or not, but do similar
yeah,
content and just become like all of a sudden freaking same thing happened to you, freaking blow the fuck up after that.
yeah.
Like
That
it's
that kid,
so effective.
dude, that no, but regardless of his like content and stuff like that, that
Yeah.
kid consistent. He's on his shit like that. He's doing great. Amorphic's
Yep.
doing great. Can't deny it. And he's constantly working on like new productions, new music, and just trying to improve his set and his
hmm
show. And with now being on literally the biggest agency in the world now,
Yeah.
he's like he's off. He's well off. He's
Yep.
good. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
He's
Like,
made
he
it.
was in this level, and then he just like flew.
Yeah.
So mad props to him, Morphic. That kid is doing his damn thing.
Are the reels and stuff the only form of content that you're doing now, or what other kind of forms of content are you doing?
Um, so my main thing that I do these days are kind of like, yeah, like mainly the short reels and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I post them everywhere on TikTok, especially as well. Trying to focus on more. And I'm gonna eventually start like a Patreon and stuff like that, so people can subscribe to it and they can get like exclusive mixes and certain like edits that I have that I'll put out, and things like that. But those are kind of like the main things that I use.
Okay.
I know that, like I said, I did YouTube videos and stuff like that. I do want to go back to it, but I'm trying to think of like you know an upgrade to that. You know what I
What were the YouTube videos? How did you
mean?
kind of put those together?
Okay, so basically, it was just like here in my basement, and I had my table and my deck and my laptop, and I was literally like, okay, I want to do like a weekly mix series, and literally just create a track list that's 20 to 30 minutes. It has an intro, it has a sick track list, or well, I think is sick,
Yeah.
and then an outro, and then that it's kind of like a mini
It's
set,
like a mini mix, basically.
basically, yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
yeah, and then basically sometimes I would throw a few video effects on it just to kind of keep it a bit interesting because I didn't have visuals at the time,
Right.
my white wall, so. But yeah, no, that was kind of the thing that I did. But yeah, like I said, I want to try and like upgrade it. I'm thinking of like maybe eventually like renting out a room, like a massive room, and just
That'd be sick.
a massive green screen room, and just getting like 3D visuals done, and just
Mhm.
do like 1 hour set and post it to my YouTube, and just like see how it does.
That'd be
But
lit. What does your content schedule kind of look like? Like, well, how many? You said 3 to 5 reels a week. Are you still keeping up that pace, or?
not these days. I think like I mentioned it before, but I think like my main focus right now is production and making music.
Mm,
But I think my schedule as of right now is at least 1 to 2 reels a week,
okay.
and still trying to stay like relevant and have content out. But then
You're
there's a lot of things going
you're
behind the
playing
scenes.
a lot more shows now too, so you got a little bit of a different. Are you full time music, or do you have a job outside of it too?
So right now I work at a gym. I work at Good
Okay,
Life. I just like sell memberships and stuff like that.
got it.
I'm there part time. But yeah, I mean, I've been off for like the last month off of shows, but these next like 8 weeks or these next like 5 weeks, I have like 9 shows.
Damn, nice.
Yeah, I'm like, oh god, I'm back in the full swing of things. I got 2 shows this weekend, so I'm like, ooh,
Ugh,
I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
getting there. After creating the content and that kind of helping your career develop and stuff, you eventually started working with an agent who
Yeah.
actually worked out this podcast for us. Shout out to him. But when you started working with the agency, did your workload as far as your work in the music industry, did that expand at all once you did sign with the agency?
Yes. For anyone who doesn't know, my agent is under NV Productions. His name is James. That's
Super
literally
cool
my
guy. Very
yeah,
cool guy.
literally my boy, my best friend before any of this. And yeah, I literally met him. Long story short, on the Riot 10 tour, and he was like, "Oh, you want to work together?" I'm just like, he saw the vision, he sees the vision,
Mm-hmm.
and my career and stuff like that. He's like, why not see what he does?" And then, I think in the span of so last year I had, I think a total of 30 shows, I believe, or 28 shows.
Okay.
Just that's literally all him, and he does all the legwork for me. Like he is the backbone. Um, and literally, with him getting me like a lot more shows and stuff like that, and he kind of wears multiple hats for me. He's not only my agent, but he's quote unquote also my manager, my social media manager as well. So
Okay. So he does a lot. He does wear a lot. He wears a lot of hats for you.
he wears a lot of hats. He's the goat for sure. And yeah, our goal is to get 40 shows this year, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, my workload's definitely increased. He always keeps me on top of things. That's for sure. Whenever I'm slacking, he's like, "Did you work on music today? Did you
Mm-hmm.
work today?" And so yeah, again, wears multiple hats, but James is literally, yeah, definitely the goat for
That's
sure.
awesome. How did? I guess my next question is with getting more shows and all the content creation, everything that you do. How do you manage to stay up on everything? Seems like a lot of work.
Oh my god, Dude, it's so crucial for me to take breaks, something that a lot of artists don't tend to do as often. And I think taking breaks, whether it be for an hour, a day, a week, or something like that, I think that always kind of gets your focus back in check and back in line. And I think just for me, I don't really have like a set schedule. Like I don't be like, oh, on Wednesday I'm gonna film a reel for my Instagram, and then Thursday I'm gonna spend all day working on music. It kind of just like
Happens.
works itself out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I usually take things day by day. I know that certain artists have like, oh, like today's gonna be a sound design day, and then the next day I'm gonna work on my set for the weekend or whatever the case is. I kind of just take it a day at a time,
Yeah.
and I don't really set aside like, oh, 2 hours for this or an hour for this. Um,
That's
but
interesting. How do you keep everything organized and like on track then? Like, do you ever forget to do stuff?
you know what? You know what? Yeah, you're catching me here. Yes, I do. I do sometimes forget things. Yes, quite often. Especially lately with a lot of things going on.
Yeah, yeah.
But I thankfully, I have boards all over my house, like whiteboards.
Oh, good.
Help me out. I usually lay it out all in my calendar and stuff like that, so I stay on track and stay on time. Um, but yeah, I try not to forget, but it definitely slips out every now and again.
I was gonna say because of my life it revolves around my calendar, so my life
Yeah,
would be in shambles if I didn't write everything down. So it's just interesting for me to hear someone, and everyone has their own techniques, and if it works for you, it works for you. But for me, like, holy shit, dude, if I didn't have my calendar, I'd freaking fall apart.
that, you know what? That's fair enough. Like, you know what? If you have everything written out, it seems to it like everything just kind of falls into place, and everything ends up being
Yeah.
okay.
I
Like
don't
that, but it's yeah.
I don't know if you struggle with ADHD or not, but it also helps my
Yeah.
ADHD. It helps me like if I can just brain dump like once a week. Okay, this is what I need to get done this week. This is what's coming up. These are my interviews I have to do. Whatever the case is. If I take it 1 or a couple hours a week and just lay out for my entire week. If things change, obviously I'm in there every day checking on things. But if I don't do that brain dump of like my schedule, I'm so stressed out and like I'm constantly thinking of my schedule. As soon as I do that, I don't even have to think about. I'm just like, okay, what does today have? What does the next day
Yeah.
have? So it helps so much.
That's true. It's like it's something that I don't like. I've never been to a doctor, but I'm pretty sure I have some sort of like
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or another. But I do tend to like I need to do it more often. That's
Yeah.
for sure. It's definitely something I need to do more often. And like, having a day set like to sit down and like even in the morning when you just wake up and just like jot down what you're gonna do for that day.
I wanted to ask you because I know you're from Canada. You're not even from the United States.
Yeah.
How hard is that to like travel and like do a lot of your shows happen in Canada, or do you have a lot of shows in the U.S.?
Is so majority of my shows have been in the States.
Okay.
And of course, like for Canadians or Europeans or whatever the case is, whenever you want to work, if you're outside of the States and you want to like quote unquote work slash play in the States, you have to get a
Yeah.
work visa. And that process alone takes like 2-3 months.
Ugh.
And it's like it's such a hard process, but I'm so grateful to be in a country where it's like it's so easily accessible. Like I can access the forms on the computer, fill them all out, go to the office, submit it,
Yeah.
and be ready but and ahead on time. And I know of artists like like Alien Park, who is from Venezuela, which is not, you know what I mean, so it's not
hmm
as like Canada in some certain areas. And he's told me that in certain areas of Venezuela is not the best, right?
Yeah.
So and it's very expensive. Like it's you know what I mean, it drains my account.
Does your agent and stuff help you get all that paperwork done, or are you kind of on your own with that?
We do it as a collective.
Okay, cool.
And
Are
like
there other people on your team that are from Canada too, or are you the only one?
I am the only one from Canada, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I know he has a couple people that he works with that are obviously mainly in the States. He has one in Australia. So he's like worldwide with it.
I'm going into management too, and that's kind of where I want to get to, is like get some out of country people. There's
Yeah,
so much talent just around the world, and I know how much bigger it is in like especially Europe and stuff.
especially like yeah, like the dubstep scene and like the bass scene and
hmm
like especially yeah, it's strong over there.
Yeah.
It's especially Australia too. People kind of like minuscule kind of Australia and its scene, but it's like Australia. It's for rhythm and dubstep. It's pretty popping over there.
Australia is crazy. Yeah, you look at Sippy came from there. There's a couple, Fag Hetty, I think, is from there. There's a couple like
Yeah,
huge names that came out of
yeah,
Australia. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Phase one,
phase
tricks.
one,
Yeah.
too. Yep, yep, yep.
So,
What are with all the touring and stuff? What are some of your tools that you use to keep yourself physically, mentally, and like emotionally healthy?
I remember I did my own first headline tour called the Apocalypse Tour. I did it in 2022,
Mm,
months of March and April, and I did like I think 2 shows every weekend. Um, and the big thing for me was working out, and whether that be just like a walk around the block or something that I didn't do as much was eat healthy on that trip, and that's
yeah.
something that I've learned um, to kind of keep more mind of. And if a hotel has a gym, you know what I mean, go and use the treadmill for 30 minutes, you know what I mean. And I think a huge thing as well is sleep. uh, and it's something that I definitely, that was the one thing that I made sure that I kept on track of. And
What does your sleep look like when you're like, especially because like I'm sure there's sometimes a time zone difference and there's some jet lag there, and like when you're playing a show, what hours do you typically sleep when you're like out of town?
when I'm out of town, I try to choose the flights that are early enough so that
Yeah.
I'm able to get a nice like 2, 3, 4 hour nap before I have to head to the show. But like for example, I'm playing Arizona this weekend, and I arrive at like 6 or 7 p.m. and my
Mm.
10 p.m. So
Oh,
I won't have that much time. So I'm like, I got to get a lot of rest.
what
You
time
know
is
what?
your flight out to go home?
Like the next day.
Yeah.
It's the good thing about it is too is this one. My flight's not until 11 p.m. that day, so I
Oh,
literally
okay.
have that whole day the next day to like rest and chill or
Awesome.
what.
Yeah, because I see a lot of people like they'll like fly in at like 6, 7 o'clock p.m.
Yeah,
and then they'll play their set at 10, 11 o'clock, and then by like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, they're getting back on. They have to go back to the airport. It's like, how the fuck do you guys do that?
it's. I think every artist can attest to this. We're trying to not choose the 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.
Yeah,
flight home. It's terrible. It's
yeah.
terrible.
It's just
Uh,
sometimes it's the cheaper option though, and it's like you got cost to think about too.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's also a huge thing. If it's the only option and the difference between that flight and the next flight that's in the afternoon and it's like $500, you're gonna have to do the 6 a.m.
yeah,
flight. Um, and it's not like the worst, but it's like I've had situations where I've done a show, I did a show, went home, back to the hotel, I napped for maybe 30 minutes, and then I have to get back up again. And it's not fun. It's
yeah, yeah.
not fun at all.
I
Because I
just at that point, I would just try and sleep as much as I could before I got on my plane, or unless you have work, that's a different story too. Before you leave,
yeah.
but if you have like that day off before you have to fly out that evening, it's like sleep and rest as much as you can there, and then just plan on being up all night.
Oh my yeah, no, dude, that's what I try to do is I
Yeah,
try to work the day before I have to go out for shows because then it's like I have a day to like just sleep the
yeah,
whole day.
yep, yep.
um
Smart. You're talking about sleep and stuff. I wanted to go back to talking about learning to take breaks because I know that that's been a challenge for me. Is especially I've gotten better at it now, but
yeah,
in the first couple of years, especially like trying to get an artist project or a podcast or any business off the ground, it's like you have to put in your hours.
right.
But something that's important to protect your longevity is to take breaks. Was that a struggle for you to kind of learn for yourself as well?
Dude, I've been preaching this for a long while, and I just think that, like I said before, like I feel like not a lot of artists do it, and I think taking breaks instead of running yourself into the ground with your work ethic and your work presence
Hmm.
is so key. I think it's over anything else because it's like if you burn yourself out, and I'm sure you felt like this at some point too, like a
Yeah.
little bit of burnout where you're like, fuck man, I want to get this shit done, but like my mind and my body's just not letting me do it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Get so frustrated, and then it's like you just forget about this. I'm just gonna do it next week, and then it ends up being like a couple months, and you're like, oh well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I just take a lot of pride in taking breaks, man. It's a mentally and physical and emotional and spiritual need, like on a daily basis. And like I've had many like supporters and even like other artists come up to me and like in the DMs as well and be like, oh, like I really appreciate like what you're doing and stuff like that. Like, how do you maintain it? And I always, always, always say taking breaks is key. And that could mean, like I said before, 1 hour, 2 hours,
Hmm.
a day, week, even a month sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's so necessary. So
Where do you try and plan your breaks, or you just kind of like whenever you feel like you need it?
I that's something that I recently started because I've been getting into a lot of production lately.
Mm,
I think it's something that it's a mindset that I try to accept at that time where
right.
it'd be like I'm working on something and I get frustrated, and as soon as I notice that feeling that I'm feeling, I take a break. I think it's a matter of noticing that feeling that you're feeling, and then taking that and accepting it,
Yeah.
and then moving on, taking a break. You know what I mean? Go to a different project, go outside for a walk, or go out and hang with family or your spouse, whatever the
Mhm.
case is. I think it's huge for sure.
Yeah, it's something that I've talked about previously as well is taking breaks off social media is also super important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very I don't want to say toxic, but I'll just say toxic. But it's
It's easy to get caught up in and waste time.
it's
That's why I
oh
don't
my,
like it.
that's something that I don't even like really notice too. But then as I notice over time, it's like when I delete social media, or even if I'm off for if I'm out with family for 2-3 hours, I just feel better.
Yeah.
You know, you just feel better. And I think it was so funny because the other day I removed social media from my phone, like everything, Facebook, TikTok, everything. And then like I remember 2 minutes after that, I was just chilling, and then I immediately opened my phone and went to where my apps were, and it wasn't there. I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I just
That
removed.
that's smart to remove apps too, because it's sometimes
Yeah,
it is like I have nothing going on. It's just like kind of like your brain just like let's open Instagram. Like you don't really need to open Instagram. It's just like a knee jerk reaction type of thing.
it's literally it's not even it's like a muscle memory thing.
Or
It's
yeah,
so
muscle memory. Yeah,
yeah, it's so weird when you like notice it, and like it's like I think something that I've been doing for the last couple weeks is every Sunday I delete all my apps.
I force myself. That's exactly what I do. I don't delete my apps, but I completely take social media for the last I don't know 3 months. I've taken social media off on Sunday. I
Yeah,
feel wonderful on Sundays.
I mean, realistically, nothing really goes on in the
Yeah.
EDM days. You know what I mean? No announcements. You know what I mean? It's a good break.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's something that I'm trying to do more because I think, yeah, it's definitely it crowds your brain so much. There's just so much shit going on. I don't know. It's too much for me sometimes.
In your own words, why do you think taking breaks is so important?
Um, it is a necessity for, like you said, for longevity.
Mm.
It's a necessity for your mental and your physical, your spiritual health. And um, if you don't if you don't take any sort of break, you'll run yourself into the ground, you'll burn out, you'll not want to do whatever your passion is doing or whatever your art is. You won't want to do it anymore. And that's something that I've faced myself where I like I said, I'd be in the middle of a song, and I'd be 2-3 hours and I get nowhere, and then I get frustrated, and then there was points where 6-7 months I didn't start any new idea, and worked on nothing. um, so again, like I said before, I think accepting that feeling and noticing that it's in your brain, really harnessing it, and then taking a break.
Yeah, acting upon that feeling instead of just ignoring
Yeah,
it and continuing to push. Yeah,
yeah. Because
yeah.
then if you don't, then it's like a burning fire. It'll just get
Mm-hmm.
bigger. You know what I mean?
Yep,
So you got
absolutely.
to. I mean, you got to put out the fire.
What are some of your favorite activities to do when you are taking a break and you are not in work mode?
So not in a work mode. I'm taking a break. I like to just really lounge around, man. I don't really do much.
Yeah,
Like go to the gym and stuff. I've been starting to do that a lot lately. And it's really therapeutic.
yeah.
Uh,
That helps too. When I'm at the gym, I'm not on my phone or I'm not like in work mode. I'm just like
yeah,
I'm focusing on what I'm here to do at the gym. That's a
yep.
good little like escape for a couple hours.
It's like I find it's the perfect release, man. Not
Yeah.
even times, even if you just go outside for a walk around your neighborhood, like that's literally great. Whether it's
Hmm.
10, 15, 20 minutes, like it's all great for your brain and it's all good for your mental. And I'm trying to think. So what else do I do? I really just don't do much. All I do, like if I'm taking a break, realistically, if I'm like, okay, today's just not my day, I'm not going to work on music. I'm literally just going to go on YouTube and watch YouTube videos for like 5, 6, 7
I
hours.
love YouTube.
I, dude, I prefer it so much more than TV. TV is just,
For one, why would you ever pay for cable?
uh,
In today's day and age, fuck that.
uh,
Secondly, yeah, YouTube's also free, so
exactly. I mean, I pay for YouTube Premium, but that's like
it's
it's just
worth
because
it though.
it's like
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
10 bucks. It's good, man. It's good. I'm
Uh,
telling you, YouTube's the goat.
It also helps with the content creation. You know, you being a musician, the content that you make. For
Yeah,
me being a podcaster, I watch a ton of podcasts to get inspiration for, and it also helps. Like I have to going back to taking a break, using YouTube to take a break. I have to force myself not to watch certain things that I'm like trying to learn from. You know what I mean? Like I have to keep leisure things, like, things that I watch for leisure versus like okay, I'm watching this for business stuff.
separate from your
Yeah,
work. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, no, for sure. I like something that I usually like to watch. I just like to watch a lot of like there's this UK group called the Sidemen, and it
yeah.
has
I
like
love. Yeah, yep.
I watched all.
KSI.
Yeah, of course, that's the goat. Um, and yeah, no, I've been following his career forever. But I watch the Sidemen. I watch a lot of like I don't watch these too much, but I do like to watch sets sometimes, like
Okay.
live festivals and things like that, because that also that'll also kind of bring me back in the mood of creating and stuff like that as well. Because you know what I mean, it'll give me inspiration.
Hmm. Have
And
you heard
yeah,
or have you seen Subtronics' Ultra set yet? I've been meaning to watch that today.
I watched the I watched the whole thing.
Fire.
Yeah, it's dude, it's the guy keeps leveling up every single day. Every time he goes on stage, man, it's yeah, he'll forever be my number one inspiration. And
It's
that's
he's one of my favorite artists too. But you are right. It's crazy how far he's like every single time I see him, it's something different. It's a new idea. It's a new remix. It's a new,
yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah, insane.
Because like, dude, I think I forget what Lost Land said it was, but when he was on main stage at Lost, I think it was 2020, maybe 2019, maybe I think it was like a sunset set. I think
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah,
um,
I was there at that set. Yes. Yep.
we were there.
Yep.
That was like I think it's on YouTube as well, I believe. And yeah, that like just to see his level up, man. I think the first
I was there at that set, and then I was also there last year at his closing Saturday set. So
wow,
seeing that, that trajectory for me just in the last 4 years was insane.
yeah, yeah. The first set I saw from him was I think when he played Red Rocks. He had like short ass hair. I'm trying to
Oh
think.
yeah.
I forget who it was. I forget who like the. I think it was Excision who was headlining. I think.
Mm.
That was the first set I saw from him. Yeah, and then I just like his whole craft, the like just the way he does things. Yeah, just a massive inspiration all around for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about Lost Lands, I do want to talk about because we kind of mentioned it earlier, but your new song with Alien Park coming out on the Lost
Okay.
Lands comp. I do want to ask just kind of like what went into making that song. How did that song come to be? How did you kind of get connected with Alien Park? Just tell me how that song was made.
Yes, no, of course. So I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago now. I knew about Alien Park and his music. I think he did a couple remixes. I forget which ones they were, or it was just a couple solo tunes. And I was like, damn, I would absolutely love to do a collab with him. So I hit him up on Twitter on DMs, and I was like, dude, like we should do a tune together. And he was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And then he sent me like a whip that was unfinished. It had like an intro with no vocals. It had the first drop and the second drop done. And I was like, how do I spice this up? So he was
Yeah.
like, oh, want to hop on this? I was like, fuck it, why not? So then I recorded some vocals. He fine tweaked them. I added a few extra sounds to the first couple drops, and I did the third drop, and we finished it in literally like a day, 2 days. And
Sometimes
yeah,
those are some of the best songs when they're like easily finished.
and he was just like, "Oh, I have this whip. You want to hop on it?" I was just like, "Okay."
Sure.
And then I did it, and then literally within a day or two, he was just like, "Oh, here's the final." Okay. And like
Perfect.
yeah, and then yeah, I don't know. His music's been playing out everywhere. He's literally the next up and comer, and like
Yes.
I really hope to see him at Lost Lands this year and play it because like he deserves it more than anyone else. I think.
Absolutely, I love Alien Park's music, and it's awesome that you were able to collab with him. I saw that you guys had been. I think I saw it on your Instagram earlier. You guys had been sitting on that song for like a year and a half.
Yes,
Freaking
it's
wild.
yeah. I think it was. I forget. It was 2021, but I forget. It was upwards a year and a half, 2 years now that we've been sitting on the final. Yeah.
What was kind of like the original plan for that song? Like, and then how did that change? Why did it take so long to put out?
So it took so long because eventually we were thinking about putting it on like an EP of some sort or something like that on a
Mm,
different level, but it just didn't happen. Like things just didn't line up properly, and we were like, dude, like this is like it's funny because early doors when we finished it, we were like, this is like a Subsidia tune. Like it would just work on Subsidia. Like it's just the perfect home for it. We established, and like months went by, like even a year went by, and we were like, we didn't have any like plan for it. And then I think it was last week yeah, it was last week where we got the news that Excision wanted to sign it on the Lost Lands comp. And we were like, I don't know about Alien Park, but for me, I was like, this is like, that's been one of my career goals. Like ever since I started, like especially producing, like
yeah.
3 years, I was like, this is one of my goals to get on a massive label like Subsidia.
Well,
And
congrats, dude.
I don't know, it's pretty surreal. And I really think it's going to do amazing. And Excision's been playing out for the last year and like throughout the summer last year, and even continues to play in his sets. I think he played it at Beyond Wonderland this past weekend, I think. Um, so yeah, it's surreal. It's surreal.
Awesome,
I
man.
I have no words for it. It's going to be amazing, and I'm just beyond honored to do it with Alien Park. He's a goat. He's a goat.
So cool. If you guys are listening to this right now, it's already out. So go stream that shit. I know Alien Park's a part of the same team as like Vastiv and Cliptip came from.
Yes.
Later Tonight, the Later Tonight crew.
Yes.
I've been wanting to get him on the podcast as well. I talked to his manager though, and he said that he's like broken English because he's from Venezuela.
Right.
How hard was the language barrier there for you guys with collabing? I've never spoken to him. I've just based off what I was told.
We've never actually spoken either.
Oh shit.
But, yeah, it was all like all the collabing and all like the actual like work and fine components and stuff. That was all done through DM. Like I never actually spoke to him. So I never even knew he had broken English. So
yeah. Like, well, that's maybe why then.
Maybe that's why we didn't go to college.
Yeah, right.
No, but yeah, no, he's amazing at what he does, and it was very, very easy to collab with him, and he's such a fast worker and so efficient, and his stuff is so girthy and delicious. It's great.
He has that like polished sound too, which is dope.
Oh my god,
yeah.
He has that polished sound that very, very defined, defined.
Well, I'm stoked to hear it, man. I wanted to ask if there was anything else because we are getting to time, but is there anything else you'd like to get out there other than that awesome opportunity you have coming out?
Yeah, so for everyone who's watching this, Mass Destruction with Alien Park's out right now on Subsidia Records. I also have another tune coming out at the end of April on a very big label as well, which I'm very, very fortunate. And just working on many collabs. I have a debut EP finished that's going to be coming out later this year in the summer. It's my best work yet, and I'm just like, there's just so many things coming that people aren't expecting, and so many shows to announce as well. And I think I already have a fair few amount. I do have a fair few amount, thankfully, that I'm going to be playing this year already. And
let's hit that 40 mark this year.
It will happen, I promise.
I'm looking forward to seeing how your career progresses over this year. Before we wrap up, though, do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm so grateful to be a part of this. And I think the last time I did an interview was a long ass time ago. And I got to say, you were very to the point, and I had other interviewers and they were like kind of dilly-dallying around certain things, very to the point and very constructive and very comforting, and I really appreciate you. And
absolutely,
this is an absolute honor to be a part of this.
It was an honor having you on, bro. I don't know if you had a different manager or something at the time, but I reached out like year 1 or 2 when you were like just starting to pop off with your reels and stuff, and I reached out and for whatever reason didn't work out, but I'm so glad that we were able to work on it today and get this done.
I'm so happy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couple last questions. Where can listeners find you and support you and follow along your journey?
Okay, so you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and just those 3 at Usaybflow, USAYBFLOW, and then you can follow me on TikTok at DJ Usaybflow. And yeah, like I said, many things coming, so be sure to tune in with the Banana Man, and
Excellent. Final question I ask at the end of every interview: if there's one piece of advice you could tell yourself when you first learned how to DJ and you first started pursuing your career, what would that be?
It would be to never give up. I know that's a very generic answer, but I think something that I been doing quite a bit lately, unfortunately, is like kind of you get in a negative headspace every now and again, you know what I mean, and like negative thoughts like where am I going to be in 5 years? You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to stay as relevant as I can, and I want to be sustainable in the industry for 5 to 10 years. And, talking to myself like 5 years ago when I first started around that time, I would tell myself to just never stop, keep going, and don't be afraid to be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's another thing.
That's a huge thing. Be yourself. Please be yourself. Everyone be themselves.
Dude, it's number one. It's besides breaks. Be yourself. Don't feel like you have to worry about branding and how you're gonna act online.
Yeah, you are the brand. Just be yourself.
I love that. You are the brand. I love that. I preach that 1,000,000%.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time again today, brother.
Dude, Justin, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, drop us one of these and subscribe to make sure you never miss out on any of our new episodes. If you want to find out more information about our guests, you can find all their information down in the description. Have a wonderful week.